Welcome. So in this session we're going to look at DAWs. The first of our DAWs is Logic Pro X. Now Logic Pro X is our main DAW for our facility and has been for at least the last 5 years. So it's worth keeping this in mind, and I'll try and explain to you why this is the case and why we've stuck with it for so long. In the past we have run Cubase and we've run Pro Tools and a few other ones as well that are no longer fit for purpose. But we're going to go through at least 7 or 8 of these, and we're going to list them against our main criteria. Now, this is our 3rd video of this new format. If you're liking the format, please subscribe to the channel. Please give us a like and a thumbs up, just so that we know that you're enjoying it and everything's good, or leave us a comment. Now, in the coming weeks, we're also running our newsletter. So if you're interested in receiving our newsletter, sign up to the newsletter. I'll leave a link below. So without further ado, let's move on and let's have a look at Logic Pro X. So Logic Pro X, if you're going to buy this for a school, you can probably pick it up for about £100. If you're going to buy it for yourself, it's £199. We can probably cancel out a lot of our requirements on this one just by saying it has everything. So when you're looking at pricing, upgrades and paid add-ons, you can put paid add-ons on, but actual fact, at our level, at this A level, AS or other specification for secondary, you're not going to need any paid add-ons. It comes bundled with all the synthesizers you're going to need. It comes bundled with all the samplers and effects that you're going to need, and all of the mastering equipment. It also allows you to record unlimited audio, and it's stable audio as well. The one thing you do need to know from the off is that Logic Pro X is owned by Apple, and it will only run on an Apple machine. So if you own a Mac, this is fantastic. If you're thinking about Logic X, you will need to make the investment to get a Mac system. You can do this fairly cost effectively with a Mac Mini. So we run Mac Minis at our facility, and they are the cheapest Mac. They are the cheapest entry point. One thing I would say about the Mac Mini is make sure you get one with at least 8 GB of RAM, and try to aim for the i7, and i5 will also be as well. Do not run a Mac Mini with only 4 GB. It's just a recipe for disaster. If you go down the Mac Mini route, you will also need to think about screens, which is a good thing. You can pick up cheap screens, or your school's probably got hundreds of the things. I tend to like really nice big screens for my students, so I have the 29-inch super wide screens. Rather than trying to dual monitor, I just have a nice super wide screen, and the kids love it, and it's fantastic, and they can spread out their timeline, they can spread out all of their effects and plugins, and nothing gets in the way. So it's Mac only. We've said about the pricing. The upgrade policy is very, very good. So the last time we upgraded our Logic was about 4 years ago, which is fantastic. Most of the other systems will require you to upgrade at least every other year, and they'll also require you to have some paid add-ons as well if you want to take your DAW experience further. The Logic Pro X experience does not require you to do that, and it is fully bundled. And I would say the initial outlay of Logic plus the system plus your screen, keyboard and mouse, you're looking at probably £800 per unit. So you need to work out the comparison for this as you work through on whether £800 a unit is feasible. So let's move on to the next part. We've looked at recording audio, we've looked at creativity, we've looked at all of the effects and things that you'll need. So the first thing, if you're running the A level in music tech or the AS, you need to know is it fit for purpose for component 1 recording, component 2 technical based composition, and probably component 4 mixing and production exam. And the answer is yes. It will do everything you need for the course, and it will do it in the simplest way. So the next thing we need to look at is stability, networking and assets. So Logic Pro X comes with thousands of assets. It has probably one of the biggest asset libraries of all systems, and that's audio, MIDI, loops, everything. It really just, it has everything. It also comes with the most fully functional effects like EQ, compression, multiband compression, synthesizers, samplers. It comes with a full sampler, not a cut down sampler, which is an important note. It comes with a full mastering suite, and it also can export to pretty much any format that you will need. So the types of exporting we do in our facility are AIFF, WAV, and MP3, and it will do all of those without fuss. Okay, so in terms of assets, we have loads. In terms of stability is fantastic for the reason that Apple owns the system. Apple own the software, they own the system, and compatibility is fantastic. So when your student plugs it in for the first time, it will just work and it will be brilliant. Your school will probably need it to go on a network. So this is the next thing that we look at is it, when your school says to you, hey, it's got to go on a network, is it going to cause you more hassles or less hassles than a conventional Windows machine? And I would say to you, is it you as the teacher, it will cause you a lot less hassles. Let the IT guys work out how to put it on the network, and Apple have a very, very good support system for their own networking systems that work with Windows networking systems. The workarounds are fantastic, but your ICT team will need to work that out. And for once in our lives, it's not the teacher's problem, which is great. And if you've ever been on a networked system running something like Cubase or Pro Tools, you'll know what a faff it is. And you don't have that problem with Logic Pro. It just works. It's fantastic, and it's brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. So if you want to take your headache away in that respect, it's great. So the next thing we need to look at is ease of use. Now, with any new software, especially in the old days where we had to take our students from beginner to pro in literally 1 year, ease of use is everything. So let's head on over to our DAWs. If I just switch it over here. So this is Logic Pro in a nutshell. And I think personally it's the easiest software to use out of all of them, the easiest DAW to use out of all of them, bar none. And one of the reasons for that is it's one panel. There's no dockable areas. You know, this is the screen that you look at after you go through the help menus and setting up menus. This is the system you look at. This is it. Okay, so you have along the top all of your global controls. So everything's kind of, not everything, but most of it's hidden but easily accessible. So if you want to close something down, it's just a toggle. You literally just toggle it open, toggle it closed. And it's very, very easy to find, and everything kind of works this way. So no matter which one you want, and your play controls and your global quantizing controls, they're all there. Your punching controls, metronome counting, and your asset controls. So all of your assets are there, and it's nice and easy. So when you first look at Logic Pro and you look at it like this, you think, well, this is a really simple piece of kit, and probably can't do very much because it's so simple. And that is an absolute falsity, because it can do everything that any other DAW can do, and it does it so well. Okay, so straight away, just because it's hidden, as you start to unlock your own knowledge, you will start to unlock what Logic can do. For instance, channels. When you switch between channels, it changes the library bank. It changes the preset channel. It will add more channels to it as you go through. So if you want more effects as an insert, you can add more. And it will, so let's add a compressor here, and it will add the compressor, and it will leave you another slot. So it instantly adds another slot. If you want an effect as a send, you can just add the send effect. It shows you the send that you're adding. So say for instance we wanted a reverb, you can just add a reverb, and straight away it channels it in, so you can see exactly what's going on, and you can access it. So as you switch between this stuff, if I want to adjust the reverb on this unit, just double click, and it gives me all that adjustment. And they're top end plugins. That's another thing, is a lot of DAWs, they expect you to do add-ons. They expect you to pay for extra functionality. And Logic Pro doesn't do that. They say, look, this is our premium system. £100 or £199, and that's it. That's all you're going to need for the next 4 years. We'll do everything else. And they keep adding more stuff. So it's not like they're staying stagnant. In the last couple of years, we've had loads of new stuff. So we've just had studio horns added. We've just had studio strings added. And one of the biggest updates was Alchemy. Alchemy is a huge sound design tool. And here on Music Tech Student, we have a course to show you how to use it. So when you look at it and go, whoa, what's this? It shows you how to use it. So in the past, if I wanted to use Cubase, I'd have had to purchase Alchemy, or I'd have had to purchase one of the Native Instruments plugins, which are absolutely fine. And you can still purchase them if you want them, but the fact is you don't need to if you don't want to. So these are massive selling points. So although the initial price that you pay is high, as you can see, as time goes on, your pricing point will come down. I would say your kind of upgrade cycle for Logic Pro and Mac is about 4 to 5 years. So if you imagine £800 for one unit, let's just switch back to the other screen. So £800 for one unit, and that's going to last you 5 years. So say for instance, your PC or your Mac, they're roughly going to be the same price. The PC is probably going to cost you about £400. The Mac's probably going to cost you about $700. But then if you want a piece of software like Cubase, then you're going to have to pay probably another $200. So you're looking at £600 for Cubase and a Windows machine, and you're looking at £800 for a Mac machine. But the difference is with Cubase, you're going to have to upgrade every second year at least. Okay, they actually do an upgrade package of every year. So straight away, over time, it becomes the same price. Okay, so you have to when you start off thinking about running Music Tech in your facility, you have to have a 10-year plan. There's no ifs or buts. You can't just think, oh, I'm just going to run it for 1 year, because the outlay is so big. By the time you've bought your studio and by the time you've bought your microphone, all your outboards and stuff, when I set up the first Music Tech course at our site, which was about 15 years ago, maybe 16, God, I'm old. I think including all the acoustics, including kind of knocking through a wall, including putting the glass panel in, buying a massive mixing desk and buying, we started off with 10 computers plus one for the studio. My initial outlay was, it was easily 25,000, my initial outlay. And then I said to them, look, I'm going to need a budget of this amount for every 5 years as well for the upgrades. And, and that's why you put together a 10-year plan rather than I'm just going to run it for 1 year, because it's not cost effective over 1 year. And that's where the Mac system will come into it. As time goes on, you'll have to upgrade less. You'll have to buy less facilities because you're only running Logic. The facilities realistically will last 6 or 7 years. And every now and again you get one that breaks and you have to replace that. But they will go on for quite a while. They're great systems. So over time, the price will come down. And that's what you've got to remember with this Mac system. And as you can see, for a student, it's going to be a lot easier to use. So those are all the positives. Now let's look at maybe one of the big negatives. Not all students own Macs. So trying to get them to practice at home becomes a massive task. So realistically, it's not going to happen. And that's why we kind of have two DAWs in our facility. So we have Mac for all of our recording, component 1, and we have Logic for component 2 as well. And for our more advanced and for getting practice, we also have Ableton Live. And Ableton Live is fantastic because it has a free demo, which is unlimited free demo. The only thing you can't do with it is save. And actually, as for homework, I don't need the students to save, so it's brilliant. It just works. So we have two systems. I think that's pretty much all I need to say about Logic Pro X. It's a fantastic facility. We've been running it for 5 years. Before that, we run Cubase. Before that, we run Pro Tools. Or we run Cubase and Pro Tools simultaneously because we needed Pro Tools in the studio and we had Cubase in the lab. So hopefully that informs your decision. Hopefully you like this format of video. Please leave a comment. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this one, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to try and keep this going. So the more support we get from you guys, the more chance we have of keeping this going, and yeah, more content to come. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.